Closed captioning is brought to you by Bodog. Be a player.
Talking to Bob Walker from Walker Saw Shops. You know, Bob, your shop tuned these saws. Now, what's important when you've got two saws to make a race fair in lumberjack competition?
Well, the thing is try to set them on both the same, you know, and you know, get the chain tension right, and we set them with a tack, you know, tachometer, and set them around 12,500 RPM, and I think they're pretty fair. You know, you find that if it was a bigger saw, you'd find a different change in them, but this size of saw is fairly common and used a lot.
Well, we're heading into the stock style. We got 3 heats of 2 competitors, and the Bodog girls are handing out some prizes to the fantastic audience we got here, hosted by Ben James. First heat's going to be Matt Mooney, veteran competitor. Dave McLeod, a veteran competitor as well. 2 cuts in 2.5 inches out here in BC.
Yeah, really tough. Seems like just yesterday, Dave McLeod and I were competing at UMB, and here he is, one of the veterans now. You can tell by the gray in his beard. He's been at it for a while, and he's really good with a chainsaw.
Well, a lot of competitions go to you 4 inches to make 2 cuts. Here it's only 2.5 inches. Look at Dave McLeod blowing away Matt Mooney here. Dave McLeod sets in a great time of 11.65 and 12 inches of Western White Pine.
That's right, and this 2 inches of wood, it makes it really tough. You've got to not only be fast with the saw, but you got to be accurate.
You know, in the stock saw, we talk about it all the time. It's a competition where you got to use your ears as well as the feel going through the wood as well. We got Mitch Hewitt taking on Nick Russell, and over the years I've seen Mitch Hewitt win a lot of stock saw competition. He knows how to handle a saw. Nick Russell, again, he got the wood. He should know all about it.
That's right, and of course, every event you go to, you're using different saws. So you really got to listen to the RPMs. Make sure you're getting as much as you can out of that saw. But it doesn't look good for Mitch in this one. It looks like a wide cookie.
Mitch Hewitt might be used to the 4 inches at many competitions. Mitch Hewitt went really wide in his second cut there. And yes, he does take a DQ. And you can see how thick his second cut was. You can't do this with only 2.5 inches of wood to play with.
That's right. And of course, stock saw, again, another 100 points for the overall title. You've got to be in there for these points because every event counts in lumberjack sports.
And the most difficult cut is the second cut because you can't see the other side where the bar is going into the wood.
That's right. It pays to take that extra half a second and make sure your cut starts right on the second cut.
Well, this last heat is featuring Angus Brown taking on Terry Bassel. Still a time to beat 11.65. Both guys, actually Angus struggled and started a little bit there, but he's doing okay.
Yeah, and this is where the experience of being a logger comes in. He's listening to the sound of the saw really well, making a beautiful cut with that saw.
Terry Bassel is very thin here. Terry Bassel's going to take a DQ while Angus drops at 15.31. Dave McLeod's going to win the stock saw, but what happens to Terry here? He's just way too thin in this 2.5 inches.
That's right, and that 2.5 inches plays in your mind. He knows he's going to make a thin cut, and of course he's coming up next to the top. Maybe he didn't set that saw quite straight enough, doesn't get the complete cut.
Stock saw, you seem to win them more than you lose them, and a different brand of saw this year, but you seem to know what to do.
I don't know, a saw is a saw as far as I'm concerned, and it's a smaller saw, so you just got to learn not to push it. It's certainly not the same size of what I'm working with, and you feel it out a little bit, and yeah, they run pretty good.
Well, you have to do all that feeling out all within 2 cuts.
Yeah. I'm fortunate that I run them every day as a living, so kind of get a little bit of a feel for it there.
Well, I always say if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, and Dave McLeod's a grizzly bear this event, taking the stock saw with a time of 11.65 seconds.
And this week, our crown pivotal point is Mitch Hewitt in the stock saw. Rod, you called it at the beginning of the show. He had to be one of the favorites to win this competition in Port McNeill. He won the springboard handily, but taking a DQ and a big goose egg in the stock saw is going to hurt him bad.
That's right, and also Brad DeLosa, quite a surprise at the bottom of the leaderboard right now, but Dave McLeod at the top with 200 points.
Come back again next week to Port McNeill for part 2 of this competition here at Orca Fest.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, professional quality, ask any pro. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Bodog, be a player. Red Pine Wilderness Lodge, simply unreal fishing.